Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And today, if you don't mind, I would very much like to continue on with our journey, our discussions, our discoveries, and our explorations with respect to the recent releases made by the Criterion Collection during this year of 2023. And that brings us to a title which has been designated by Criterion at spine number 1192, and this is a work which is described as being from the year 2022. And the name of the filmmaker is Brett Morgen, and the name of the work is MOONAGE Daydream. This is the work, the really amazing work, which is described as being from the year 2022, and the filmmaker is Brett Morgen, and the name of the work is MOONAGE Daydream, and the subject matter, the focal point, the area or the concepts or notions or ideas or the individual or the artist that is at front and center, that is the very heart and soul of this work, MOONAGE Daydream, is the one, the only, David Bowie. So this has been described as being a kind of music documentary, or a documentary cataloging or documenting or expressing certain modes and philosophies of this artist, this really great artist who is David Bowie. And so I think it can be described, this film MOONAGE Daydream can be described in those terms, I think, very reasonably and very thoroughly. I think if we were to try to describe in maybe a plot or story structure or, say, arrangement structure of this work, I think we might be drawn to a number of things almost immediately, and I'll try to be as vague as possible for those, for the benefit of those who have yet to see this really excellent work, because it has an interesting flow. It can be described as having a flow that doesn't necessarily conform to a quote-unquote traditional end quote type of documentary, a biographical documentary about a historical figure. And so it doesn't chart, say, the biographical beginnings, the early life of David Bowie. It doesn't necessarily go in a type of cataloging order throughout his, say, musical career, from his start in his musical career as it and then as it went into certain stages, into the 70s and 80s and 90s and beyond. It doesn't necessarily go in that type of biographical assessment or engagement with the life and times of David Bowie per se. So if you're looking for that type of biographical, quote-unquote traditional type of documentary, then this may not necessarily be for you. However, that is not to say that it is in any way lessened in terms of its impact. That is not to say that this work in its form is in any way diminished in terms of its reach and scope and ambition. On the contrary, it achieves something, this work achieves something through the manner and form and arrangement of clips and edited montage and a type of reach throughout space and time, taking moments from various points of David Bowie's career and assembling them in a way that is itself a type of adrenaline rush feat and adrenaline rush type of experience for the senses, for those who are watching this as spectators, as viewers of this work. And I mean that 100% wholly complementarily, because there is a way in which, through that type of adrenaline rush arrangement of scenes and feelings and songs and moments in time that essentially jump from various points in David Bowie's career or phases or stages, in terms of, say, where he was, say, in Europe or in Germany, or where he was during, say, Ziggy Stardust, or where he was in terms of his cinema work, or where he was in terms of his on-screen persona, or his persona in terms of the fashion sense and the looks and the feelings, and various interviews, very famous interviews that he gave throughout his career, and some of which are cataloged and indeed excerpted and quoted here as well. So the film does show these moments, and so they're, I think, very recognizable, especially to those who know David Bowie's life and art and work very, very well. So there are moments and there are concerts and there are songs that are very, very recognizable. So it does have that type of course. And it does chart a sensibility in terms of capturing historical, say, moments in time. So there are moments that are very much part of the historical, this historical record. And so in that way, it does chart the life and times and career of David Bowie, that's for sure, because it does showcase these scenes. But the way it's arranged, the way the scenes are arranged, the way the shots are arranged, has the ability of jumping to many points in time, as well as referencing other forms of art, other films that are referenced, other works, other cover versions of songs are referenced as well as shots of David Bowie, say, walking in the streets, or checking in through an airport customs desk, or maybe on the location shooting a particular work, or maybe on stage doing a very powerful performative dance performance, or things of that sort, or appearances on TV, or the like, or films, etc. That could be him, or that could be referencing other works that are again part of, say, the landscape of cinema and art throughout the 20th century. So all this type of arrangement is also used to suggest a type of, say, philosophy of David Bowie, an essence of David Bowie, or the expression of what David Bowie, as an artist, as a human being, also as concepts, as philosophies, as outlooks on life, as perspectives, both in terms of how he is perceived to have engaged with various forms of art and literature, and also how fans and admirers of David Bowie will have possibly perceived how he perceived the world. I mean, this type of exchange is really quite fascinating, and it's, I think, exemplified in the wonderful and marvelous way that the assembly of footage and shots and moments are ordered here. And it's incredible because there's also a way in which you can get a sense of an arrangement or organization. It is not a chaotic assembly of footage. It is very highly energized, an adrenaline rush type of assembly. Don't get me wrong, it is incredibly charged, but it also has a purpose, and it has a type of trajectory. One can say that a certain aspect of this documentary, MOONAGE Daydream, focuses on, say, a type of spiritual or philosophical or even a religious spiritual aspect of the philosophical outlook of David Bowie. And then maybe there is another aspect that might turn to, say, the outer image, or the external image versus the internal image, and there might be yet another aspect of this documentary that focuses on, say, sort of the intimate portrait, maybe going into private or personal aspects, which I think is also seeing how that is engaged with a sense of fame, or a sense of the phenomenon that is David Bowie as a truly epic artist in many senses of that phrase. So. And then also phases in his career in terms of where he was, where he focused in terms of, say, Germany or West Berlin, etc. So there is a great sense of a sort of expressionistic method in which this assembly of footage is seen to be also categorizing various aspects of his career in this great way, while still suggesting this adrenaline rush type of frenzied energy of the content, which I think is a very bold choice. I mean, there are moments where the film is, say, focusing in on a sense of spirituality, and you can say that there are certain lyrics of his songs that were performed, say, in 1970s, that may have this very strong echo of a sense of spirituality and transcendentalism, that then allow the film to then leap to different moments in time that are still very much David Bowie, but that are suggestive of a different time and place, but that are also suggestive of the same types of things that he was singing about or that he was expressing, say, in several years prior. So that type of leap is suggestive of a lattice work of concerns that seems to have been, and many parallel concerns and concepts and ideas that seem to have been in motion from the very start, and that are running parallel in the trajectory of the life and work and career that is the great David Bowie. And I think this film, MOONAGE Daydream, shows this in a fantastic and a very welcoming way. I should point out too that this is a work that I think can be accessible by all. I think it's a work that can be accessible for those who are, say, expert when it comes to David Bowie, because it does show the historical record and, say, aspects of concerts and, say, other films or documentaries that have been the focus of that have focused on David Bowie. I should point out, however, that there are some surprises, even with respect to, say, David Bowie say experts, and there are some lovely gems, say quick flashes of notebooks of Bowie, or maybe some footage of say live concert film footage that was never released officially anyway. So there, and Brett Morgen, I think, makes mention of this. Excuse me. It's along the way during the great commentary track. We'll just talk a little bit about later. So, and of course, the rush and swell of the musical choices that occur. It's really quite splendid. So I think there is room for all. There's room for people who love and just know David Bowie through and through, and every facet that they absolutely love about David Bowie. And then this film can also be, I think, appreciated and enjoyed immensely by people who are new to the world of David Bowie, who have not yet experienced the greatness that is the music and art of David Bowie. And so this serves, I think, as a great introduction in, I think, a fantastic way to the essence as to why he is so exciting. To the essence as to why he is so meaningful and soulful, and why there is this there's a way in which he seems to almost transcend a sense of, say, a specific identification in what kind of artist David Bowie was and is, and that, I think, that type of compilation or collection of many different senses and sensibilities as are expressed in the assembly of a lot of footage here. I think that's one of the great ways to be introduced to David Bowie for the first time. Again, it's not like a quote-unquote traditional biography form documentary, but that's okay, and that's still, and that's one of the great strengths of this too, is that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a biography documentary. Of course, I'm also a big fan of that, but even though it doesn't show a type of David Bowie was born here and he was his life early on, his childhood was like this. It's not necessarily in that flow, but that doesn't prevent, I think, someone who is being introduced to the world of David Bowie for the first time to still totally and completely become engaged through the work that is MOONAGE Daydream. So I think that is a testament to how powerful and how great this film is focusing in on the essence or the essences through many shining examples. I'm a big fan of this film. I would call myself, I'm a great fan of David Bowie. I wouldn't necessarily call myself the biggest expert, unfortunately, when it comes to everything and anything and everything that has to do with David Bowie. I know many other people are more expert than I, but I am a fan. And so from that perspective, maybe my view might be somewhat influenced by my own admiration and love for the work that is the music of David Bowie. But that's okay, because I think it that also shows how much of an effect this film had on me, very much so. So I'm very incredibly taken with this. I should point out too that this was the first time though that I was watching this work, MOONAGE Daydream, and I was not able to watch it on the big screen. I can imagine what this must be like to watch in a movie theater on a big, big wide screen with a wonderfully equipped sound system. It must be epic to watch it in that way. So I've unfortunately never been able to watch this in that fashion, and I've only been able to catch up with it recently thanks to this Criterion release. But that being said, it was mind-bendingly fantastic for me, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I think the Criterion release, what it has to offer here with this 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo edition, is utterly splendid. I enjoyed it immensely. So let's talk a little bit more about other aspects of this release. But for now, my dear friends, this is the work which is from 2022, and it is MOONAGE Daydream. The Criterion Collection has released this work, MOONAGE Daydream, in the occasion of this year, 2023. And this is what I have here is the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray edition. So it comes in this digipack form, this version I have, which is the 2-disc. We'll talk a little bit about the great artwork and stuff, but just take a look at that. It has a type of lenticular feel to it. You know, it shines differently depending on how the light is and your angle to it as you watch. It has a type of cosmic way about things, which I think is very, very apropos. The philosophy in music and art and creativity, the power of David Bowie. So very, very cosmic indeed. So cool. And I don't see, I've also removed, for purposes of the video discussion, I've removed the insert, which is a poster type insert. I'll talk a little bit about the contents of the poster type insert a little bit later in this video, but among the contents, however, I don't see any notes when it comes to details about the master or the transfer quality. So what I see, then I can refer to the back of this packaging, which says 4K digital master supervised by writer, director, editor, producer Brett Morgen with Dolby Atmos and stereo soundtrack. So that's what it says on the back here, and it says 1.78 to 1 aspect ratio. It's in color, and there are aspects of it that are in color. There are also aspects of it that are in black and white. Approximately 134 minutes. So that's the information in terms of the master or the transfer, the materials upon which this release is made. So probably also taking in consideration that it is a very, very recent work, again described as being from the year 2022. So I can just say that, again, I saw this on my own home viewing equipment in a separate room, not on this TV. I did see also it again on this TV, but I saw it primarily in a separate room which has a bigger TV with a little bit more of the 4K equipment capabilities in terms of the sound. It's not the best setup in the world, but it's I think for me anyway quite a level of satisfaction I'm able to feel when I watch a work like this. Given the limitations of my own home viewing setup. So with those limitations notwithstanding, I thought it was just a splendid experience. It feels so rich and alive and direct. And as I said before, I would love to be able to see this in the theater with the expanse of the screen. It would have been, I'm imagining that it would be such a huge experience indeed. And I know that it was shown in theaters during a limited theatrical run. I know that there were some screenings in theaters. Maybe there still are. Who knows? I know that there were screenings, though. For instance, there's a supplement as part of this Criterion release that is indeed a Q&A that was related to a screening of this in Los Angeles. So I can only imagine what this must be like to watch and hear and experience in the theater, the rumble and the excitement, the electricity. You just feel, oh, it's great. But be that as it may, I think this work, when watching it on my television, it still did its magic, and I think it did its magic quite expertly indeed. So I'm very, very pleased with this, and it is the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo edition. So you get the 4K disc, and you also get the separate Blu-ray disc as well. So now I have let you know I put in the 4K disc into the player, and so but just to give you a little bit of information here, the disc has, as part of its menu, it uses moving image clips that are edited in a type of montage way with sound overlaid, and it's done in a loop style. So, which is really cool, in fact. But just in case, we just want to be absolutely sure we're okay with YouTube and YouTube guidances and copyright, etc. Because we don't want to offend any copyright holders here with respect to the images that are included for MOONAGE Daydream for purposes of this 4K UHD or disc menu. So, just in case, what I've done is I will block out. Unfortunately, I can't show what the Blu-ray menu is with the moving clips again for copyright reasons. So I apologize for that, and my very crudely my crude way of trying to block it out in terms of my very haphazard editing skills. They're on display again, and I'm very embarrassed by that. But again, there's a reason for it. I just want to be absolutely sure that we're okay with this. But just to let you know, it's a great menu both in terms of the 4K UHD disc and the Blu-ray disc. So if that's any if that is any more inspiration for you to check out this MOONAGE Daydream release from Criterion, then I'm glad to hear that. Again, please check it out if you can. It's very, very cool. But it does use actual clips in an edited form from the film for purposes of the Blu-ray or 4K disc menu. So just to let you know about that. But I have the 4K disc in the machine, and it has options for the movie and then chapters. The commentary track is available for the 4K disc, and we'll talk about that momentarily. You can watch the trailer, too. There's an option for the trailer, so you can watch the trailer on the 4K disc as well. That's very cool. There is a setup for the audio options, and so you can watch MOONAGE Daydream in a variety of audio options. And what it says here is, MOONAGE Daydream is presented with its original Dolby Atmos surround and stereo soundtracks, both of which are optimized for home theater viewing. To switch between audio channels while viewing the movie, press the audio key on your remote at any time. So, as I say, I watched this in my in a separate room, which has a little bit better audio capabilities. So it was a really, really great experience indeed. So if you're able to enjoy it with the Dolby Atmos capabilities, that's a strong recommendation. It was fantastic. So that's the audio options on the 4K disc. So that's really cool. Speaking of audio, the other audio option I want to mention is the commentary track. And it says here, this commentary track, recorded in the spring of 2023, features writer, director, editor, and producer Brett Morgen. To listen to the commentary track while viewing the movie, press the audio key on your remote at any time. It is a new commentary track. It's described as being from earlier this year, 2023. Brett Morgen is, this is a wonderful commentary track. It's first time listening to this commentary track, first time watching this film, and so I watched it a number of times, in fact, for with this Criterion release. But one of the times I watched it afterwards was listening to the commentary track, and my goodness, what a wonderfully detailed commentary track this is. This is so detail oriented. I love this. And Brett Morgen has this calm demeanor, very welcoming, very soothing sound to the voice, which I think is very helpful with the commentary track. And he's very welcoming, but also very much eager to share all the details. And so he does discuss, for instance, where certain clips come from. He discusses where maybe this footage was taken sometimes from different other existing works. D.A. Pennebaker is mentioned, and sometimes some of the footage is used that wasn't made available before. So he gives those little nuggets of information, which I think are very, very valuable and useful indeed. And he's also so detail-oriented in terms of knowing exactly what the clips are. He describes how he arranged the film, how he planned the film in terms of a type of playlist. He also describes the songs that he was thinking of, but he was also discussing how he wanted to maybe quote unquote avoid the cliche, end quote. And so there are some songs that he uses, especially as it begins, as a way in which to enter into the world of David Bowie. But he also mentions how certain song choices might surprise the viewer in a wonderful and pleasant way. And I think that's a great insight in terms of also cover versions that are used, which is also fascinating. And there are ways in which the assembly and edited the details of editing are also emerging, because sometimes he'll have clips that are from completely different points in space and time, like a moment from a live concert from the 70s here versus a different moment in time, maybe in a location for a shoot there. But a sound from one clip might be linked to the other clip in terms of David Bowie seemingly reacting to that sound, even though the clips are from totally different places. So that way of unifying different points of space and time within the art world and creative lifeblood of David Bowie, I think is one of the great ways in which this film, well, first of all, Brett Morgen is showing his great attention to detail. It's the command over the material is awesome. His command over this material is awesome, absolutely awesome. So I'm so impressed by his level and care of detail and command over the details. But it's not just that, because it also shows how the editing assembly is in itself a type of expression of the hypothesis of the viewpoint or perspective on David Bowie's life and creative art, namely as a type of spiritual or transcendental experience, in a way in which something that he might have referenced in one point in time still has ripples and effects in a different point in time and space. And you see that in the editing assembly that is shown here by Brett Morgen and company. Awesome. Utterly, utterly awesome. So this is a great commentary track. You have to check it out. Also, he goes into some really personal details about his. There's an anecdote that he shares about his personal life, his health, and it's a very intense period, and it's very brave of him to share this on this occasion. But he also shares it with us in the commentary track and elsewhere. In fact, he shares it with us, I think, also to show just how much David Bowie means to him. I mean, the way that he, I think, describes it somewhere is David Bowie, in effect, saved his life. So it's a remarkable commentary track from start to finish. Utterly, utterly remarkable. Count me as a fan. I am now so in admiration of the thought and care and craft of Brett Morgen, as expressed, for example, in the commentary track here from 2023. Oh, you've got to check it out. Please check it out if you can. Oh, it's so great. And so with the commentary track availability and also the trailer availability on this 4K disc of this 2-disc release, there you have it. It's a great option to have if you're interested. And now what I've done now is I have switched the discs, and so I've put in the Blu-ray disc now. And again, I apologize. Again, it is using a sort of moving clip, kind of, for purposes of the Blu-ray menu. So I just want to, just in case, just block it out. I apologize for that visual inconvenience. I hope you can understand. But just note that I should point out that the Blu-ray disc menu is different than the menu that we saw for the 4K discs. So that's another little treat to await you should you decide to get the 4K plus Blu-ray combo release. That's really cool indeed. But the reason why I put in the Blu-ray is we have, of course, the movie availability itself, and we also have the commentary track, which I discussed. But then we have the supplement section, and again, the supplement section occur with the Blu-ray disc and not in the 4K disc. Although, as I mentioned, we have the commentary track and also the trailer made available for the 4K disc as well. But for purposes of the supplement section, we have the Blu-ray. So please put in the Blu-ray disc if you are interested in exploring those supplements. By the way, I should point out a cool detail, which is that the supplements menu indicates not the word supplements or supplement, but in fact it says sound and vision, which I think is a very cool detail. It says in the menu, sound and vision. And when you click on this item that says sound and vision, that'll bring you to a set of, I count them, four supplements. So they are very, very cool indeed. So the first one is Q&A at the TLC Chinese Theater. And it says, this conversation with Brett Morgen, filmmaker Mark Romanek, and longtime David Bowie pianist Mike Garson took place in 2022 at the TLC Chinese Theater in Hollywood. And this is approximately 23 minutes. This is what I was referring to in terms of one of the screenings that this film underwent, this being at a very famous theater, and indeed Brett Morgen, just prior to it, acknowledges how important this theater was in terms of his own cinema journey experience and watching, say, he mentions, I think, Star Wars, and you see him greeting fans, and you see Jack Black introducing the event, and you also get this interesting detail about Jack Black and Brett Morgen and their biographical connection, which I didn't know, which is very cool indeed. And then we see little clips of the audience, the shots not of the film, but the audience in the dark in theater as they are watching the film, and you see the light reflecting off of their faces. And it's really cool. It's almost celestial. They're transported into the celestial world, the cosmic realm. That's really, really awesome. And then it goes into a Q&A again with it's a great Q&A discussion. It's edited, I think, very well, totaling approximately 23 minutes. So it's an interesting, really, really great. And again, he does start with another anecdote, which is actually the anecdote that I mentioned before in terms of description of a really significant and serious health event that occurred with Brett Morgen, and how that in turn led him to connect with Mark Romanek. And so it is a really interesting connection, as well as getting into the discussion of how he arranges Brett Morgen, how he arranges, what was the genesis of how to express the music in this. Comments from Mike Larson are here as well, and the like. And so you can tell here, as well as in the commentary track as well, but you can tell this was such a labor of love for all concerned, and the proof is what you see on the screen, which is utterly magical. So this is a great Q&A. Please check it out if you can. 23 minutes. And then that's not all, because the next supplement we have is called MOONAGE Soundscapes. And it says, in this conversation recorded in 2023, Brett Morgen and re-recording mixers David Gianmarco and Paul Massey discussed the meticulous process of creating the soundscapes for MOONAGE Daydream. This is approximately 27 minutes. And this is really cool. This is really cool because you see them in these huge not recording, but these huge editing bed theaters. So they're working with it, and you can see all. Again, I'm not a sound technician, but I see the sound technician board and everything that's in, and they're looking not on a small screen, but a huge, like, theater screen, and they're going over each detail, each little sound, or each little detail is considered and processed or edited or experimented with. It said, oh, this is a really fascinating. And again, it goes to show just the levels and layers that exist, even the layers that are perhaps almost imperceptible upon first watch or first listen, but they're there, and they're there for a meaning. And it also goes towards what I was referring to as well, how meticulous Brett Morgen and company are here. So utterly meticulous. So it's like a treasure trove just waiting to be further explored and further discovered. The new details that will emerge upon every rewatch of this. So I've seen this film already a number of times via the Criterion release, but then I saw it with the first time, and then I saw it with the commentary, and I saw it again, and then I saw it with the commentary track, and then I tried to see it again, and then I watched some of the supplements, and then still I was like, oh my goodness, this is what was happening. I had to go watch it again and try to catch, if I see if my ear can catch these little details, etc. So it becomes part of the fun and joy of rewatching this, thanks to some of the secrets that are hinted at in this great discussion. So MOONAGE Soundscapes, approximately 27 minutes. Oh, that's not because then we have the 1974 Rock and Roll with Me live performance here. It's approximately 4 or 5 minutes. Oh, this is so great indeed. Plus the trailer, which I mentioned before. So that is the state of things when it comes to the supplements here. So I think with the commentary track and the Q&A, in particular, and the MOONAGE Soundscapes discussion and the live performance clip in the trailer, you're getting, I think, a good, sizable supplement section, or sound and vision section, I should say. Could there have been more? Of course, I think there could have been. There could have been great other options. Maybe I don't know. There could have been the option. It would have been interesting, for instance, to have, say, a CD as well, an audio CD option as well included. That would have been really cool indeed. I know Criterion is not. You know, I know Criterion and, say, music releases is not. It's something that has happened in a very limited capacity before, but it would be really cool if that were the case with a release like that. That would have been awesome, but it doesn't happen. That's okay. That's okay. I'm sure there are a number of reasons for it not happening here for this occasion, but that's okay, because what we get is, I think, thorough and stunning. And again, for my 2 cents, I'm also coming at this learning about Brett Morgen in many aspects for the first time, and so I get a wonderful sense of Brett Morgen, the artist, and his love and passion for David Bowie. And so, and I got that so thoroughly, for instance, watching the soundscape section, watching the Q&A, and then listening to the commentary track. And I must say, just the commentary track, the inclusion of a commentary track that is new, that's from 2023, and it's from the filmmaker, and it's so meticulous, so detailed. Oh, I had a great time with this. So well done indeed. So now let me show you, before I move on, just the aspect which I also think is very cool. I've just removed one of the discs. So the Blu-ray disc is here, and then the 4K disc is here. So you can see this is what the inside of the interior packaging of the Digipack looks like. I love this detail because it's the stacked mechanism in the Digipack form, but the 4K UHD disc is this white on a celestial sea, whereas the Blu-ray disc is the celestial background with the white sea. So I thought that's. I love when, even if it's, I love it when the discs are different like this. So that's a great little detail. Incidentally, the insert would go into this compartment, and the compartment itself, the inner compartment, is this wonderful cosmic look, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And then it goes into the exterior compartment in the customary Digipack arrangement. And look at that. I mentioned before, but this sort of lenticular type of look to it, in terms of the way that it changes color and shines differently depending on how the light shines off of it and your angle as you're looking at it. That's cool. Again, very cosmic, very awesome. I love that choice. And so I should point out that the art is here, according to the production credits. Let's see here. Art director Sarah Habibi, Eric Skillman, designer Empire Design, art production coordinator William Braze, art assistant Julie Sussman. So very cool indeed. I have pulled out the insert, which is the fold-out poster type right here, and that's the poster. Very cool poster. I love this poster. It's don't get me wrong, it's a great poster, but I just, generally speaking, am not a fan of the poster fold-out type, because I'm always of the view that the staple booklet is the preferred method of having inserts, because the staple booklet allows for more robust and more pages and more writings and more pictures. So I would much rather prefer to have seen the staple booklet, to be perfectly honest. But that's okay, because we also get great essay. And I just want to draw your attention to Jonathan Romney's essay, which is called "Who Is He? What Is He?" So this is a fabulous essay. Oh my goodness, I love this essay very much. Great essay. Again, please watch the film first, and after you've seen the film, you can read the great essay by Jonathan Romney. Who is he? What is he? So that is, in a nutshell, how I feel about this recent Criterion release, MOONAGE Daydream. So again, it was a first-time watch for me, and I was utterly enthralled every step of the way. What a ride this is. I look forward to watching it and listening to it again and again and again, and trying to catch even more details that I'm sure await me when I watch this work, which is MOONAGE Daydream. Wow. All right, my dear friends, so that's it for now. And so until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well. And please keep on watching a lot of great movies, including MOONAGE Daydream, including other films in the Criterion collection and beyond. And so until the next video, my dear friends, stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.